Chucky's and TV addicts. Living in this don't mean to bring static. When your Klingons in the fucking house, grab your backstreet friend, they get loud. Bullet doors off inches, grab you with the pinches. And no, I didn't retire. I snatch you off with the needle nose pliers.
Originally, this was the set for Barney Miller. They shot the Barney Miller TV show here.
And subsequently Fish.
This is Fish's
as
office.
Well.
Yeah. Do you not want to talk about the studio?
All right, there's a studio across the
This is the complex. We got the studio, we got the offices, the compound and training facilities. We're working on a lot of stuff in this room and in that room.
There's also a dance room with a choreographer on premises, on site. All choreography is done on premises.
Yeah, maybe later we'll take you around to the different things. You can see the choreography room, the disguise room, the linguistics, where we study up for foreign press.
Okay. This is the kitchen. Boards. You know, this is secret info, so I'm going to stand in front of them. So anyway, that was the kitchen, and we tend to have like, say, quick meetings over coffee, if you will, in that area. Not a sample. Seriously, not a sample library, but just various CDs for listening, what have you.
What we do is we come in and we start training. Normally there's about a 1-year preparation process for recording an album. This time we pushed that out to a 6-year prep thing, and then we recorded the entire album in one day.
Well, basically what happened was the last album was a good album, but Coach felt that we really needed to work on defense and stuff on the off season. So the past, I don't know, about 3 years, we've been working on a lot of defense. We're doing a lot of drills here. We have a lot of training facilities in the other room. And that's why we didn't want to rush things. So we want to really hone our skills defensively, offensively, team-minded.
Mike's more of like an outside shooter. Adam works a lot on his inside game. I help tighten up the backboards when they're broken. Make sure that the rim is properly attached to the glass part.
Well, the weird thing is there was talk of a trade. Really? Just after, yeah.
I don't know if we want
Which, well, I mean, we can't really talk about it because there's a lot of
controversy.
Yeah.
Well, the real issue was who's in the front office. Yeah. And it was basically some people that I'm not going to mention in the front office. I'm just going to say it. They were about to trade Horvitz for the singer of Creed.
Well, we have a big marketing research team that we sends out a lot of stuff to figure out what we should wear for that day.
Out.
Put a lot of feelers out, professional feelers.
See what
kids are into in terms of like toothpaste and stuff like that. Sales wise. Do you know what I'm saying? Like one day I'd be rapping about like burgers and hefty bags, and like by the time that song is done, and a month later, like
it's Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton and laces for shoes are really important. My brother said that kids don't play hacky sack anymore. What is he talking about?
Next thing you know, he'd be saying that they don't use click-clacks or hula hoops.
Yeah, or those
frisbees.
Sticks, those 2 sticks.
Or like cheesy jacks.
Yeah. Or have huge pants made out of quilts.
Yeah. Or he's going to say like marbles are not immensely popular right now. Some nonsense like that.
It's the paddle game.
But there's a lot of stuff we do in the studio. We have to get there, we have to order food, we have to gossip. When the food comes, we have to eat the food, and then after the food, you got to just sort of rest and digest and stuff, and by that time, it's time to go home.
Well, there's coffee break, I thought.
Yeah, that's to get the energy to go home, and then we start it all over the next day.
So,
starts with some fresh rhymes.
Usually more with some beats, though.
Yeah,
start out, don't you think?
True.
Let's start with some beats.
Got a
and
couple
then we'll
beats.
say, we'll listen to some different beats and say like, well, let's try throwing some rhymes on this beat. And then we'll all,
these are rhymes that you're writing for that beat?
Then we'll write. Then we'll say like, all right, let's put that beat on for a minute. So we loop it up, and everybody, we take like 20 minutes. Everybody writes a little bit.
Actually,
grab
that's
mics,
usually actually what
and then
happens.
we just throw some rough vocals on there, and then we see if it sounds good. And then if it sounds good, then it makes it to phase 2. So then we'll go, if the song makes it past that stage, then we'll go and record more like final vocals for it in we'll go in the booth with the headphones and
Fancy, the nicer
the
mics.
414s, the pretty mics. This is when John comes into full effect. This is John over here. Can we get a zoom in on John? And John actually, he runs the compressors and the EQs and the mic pre's and all that type shit that John knows about. And then John records the vocals properly.
Well, that was John. John records all the vocals.
And those are actual lyrics on the lyric stand.
Read sideways.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually actually rhyme to the lyrics vertical.
So when you're recording the vocals, do you do them all three at once?
Yeah.
Live, so to speak?
Yeah, I go in the middle.
Nice.
We get Yaup goes over there. For us, it's like the only way we really know how to do it. Like, is all three. I mean, I won't lie. Like sometimes we'll go and do like we'll each like this. Like we'll fix like a little thing maybe that we did, but it's the only way we seem to really know how to do it and get it right is like all three of us doing it at the same time.
Now sometimes we've just imported the music as like 2 tracks, like a stereo track, but when we get closer to needing to mix, then we'll break it out and we'll put the kick drum on one track, the bass line on one track, the snare on one track, whatever. So then when it comes time to hand it off to Duro, then it's much more separated. And,
Well, that's actually like
An interesting thing.
that could be at different points, but generally we've done our vocals, not necessarily final, but like
usually
we've
the
done
tracks are
vocals.
pretty hooked, and then he comes in and just like he'd come in for a week, and then we'd put up like one track after another, and he would just do some
He'd
cutting
take it
on
to the extreme.
And then bam, Duro will come in and do his thing where he really, it's pretty cool. Like it was cool to watch because he definitely spends a lot of time, like I think has more patience than we would, and also just a really trained ear in terms of like he's very methodical. Like he'll go through each kick drum, each snare, each like really build the beats and make sure each thing is like
Well, he just
hitting
knows how
in
to-
the right place.
He knows how to like stack the frequency so things don't interfere. He takes out wild shit and makes it sound professional.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
Duro.
Duro.
Duro. Like,
Duro's been mixing the album with us.
you shouldn't ask Duro what records he's mixed. You should ask him what records he hasn't mixed.
That addictive. It's the famous ring.
But we are almost exclusively computer users at this point.
I mean, from the start, like how we all are making our beats. Like, I mean, honest, in my house, like I have I got 2 MPC 2000s, 2 of them, and they're just gathering dust right now. Nothing against them, like they're hot machines, but like it's so much easier just being able to do it all on your laptop or whatever.
When we started working on License Sale, I remember we wanted to loop a beat, and in order to loop the beat, we had to we played it onto like a 1/2-inch machine, or it might have been even a 1/4-inch machine.
Yeah,
and then we made like a tape loop that went like around the room, and we had the tape like dangling up onto mic stands and all this stuff, and we were being really careful to make sure that the tape would keep feeding around. And and now to loop a beat like that takes like 2 seconds.
License to Ill is just like was where we were at the time, and drinking beer and acting silly. And Paul's Boutique was then like moving to LA, and like that was a whole different fantasy, like hooking up with the Dust Brothers and, you know, exploring all kinds of things on different levels. I don't know, and then Shake Your Head was just like kind of getting back to like just more like the 3 of us, and then getting back to some of the things we knew how to do already. So then like our record, whatever now, like for me, like this album is really like New York City like everything's happened in New York City since like 2002 or 2001 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like that, it's the last like 2 or 3 years, like all of us living here, and what that represents.
And having fun in troubled times.
That's a good way
Yeah.
to put it, I think, because it's
Sounds like
definitely.
you're having a lot of fun on this record.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, things are more crazy in the world than they've been in a long time, and so, you know, some of the record is like a reflection of that, but I think a big part of it is definitely what Adam just said, like doing our best to just kind of live life too and have a good time in the midst of insanity. I think that because when we started on working on the record was much closer to 9/11 and Bush kind of more recently having just gotten into office, I think that we did more of the serious stuff, I think, early on, and then I think we started sort of like loosening up and having more fun with it as it went along.
You have to reflect on things, and we have to speak on things, but you basically have to find a way to have a good time, to enjoy life, and to live life as well. That's just part of our reality being right here.
I think we were all downtown.
Yeah, we were all
not far away, all in our houses. I think people in New York totally changed at the time. The day after September 11th was like a different world, like in New York. I think for one thing, there's been this like tension between police and civilians a lot of times, like in general, and that tension like disappeared. Suddenly everybody was on the same side or whatever, and we're looking to police almost more in this constructive way, I think, and that made the police let down their guard a bit more and be much more constructive with people. People were out like helping each other. I mean, I think immediately like there was this very positive feeling in the city, I think, where people were really just looking out and trying to help each other. And then we started hearing these more like news reports about people in other parts of the country where there was this like racial violence against people of Middle Eastern backgrounds. And I think we were pretty surprised by that.
I love living in America. I do. I really do. I love America for what it could be. What it's there's freedoms in America that we have that people would not even think of, that they would even have those. They would think of those freedoms, but they would never think that they would have those freedoms. And it sounds silly to say, but for me personally, I love it here. I love it here. And there's a lot. It needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work.
I was about to say I agree, but there's a lot of things that could be fixed and be better too.
And it doesn't have to be that hard. There's a few things that we all can do to make it better. No.
That's against procedure.
But is any one of you more likely to have food in the studio than another?
Let's not start a whole thing. Let's just keep going. Everything's going positive right now.
There are rules.
Mike's about to throw his microphone off and leave.
There is stretching the rules, and there is breaking the rules.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Mike.
I've had enough.
I told you. Oh, wait. He's got, coffee.
Mike, come on. Come on back,
this guy
Mike.
with the coffee on time.
I'm leaving. Listen.
You don't have a mic. You need a mic.